From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, bit of a weird one. Florida State's recruiting outside the top 25, but we feel pretty good about it. We'll explain why. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, promo code warchantbogo. Take advantage of it, everybody. You buy one, you get one free. You buy four, you get four free. That's how the BOGO promo code works. What you will get in each single bottle is 260 milligrams of all natural caffeine and various nutrients and vitamins. That's why it's called Vitamin Energy. The caffeine, all natural. We say that because it's slow absorbing, so that lasts you your entire workday and change in some occasions. I'm still just a half shot guy, but some of y'all like the full octane version of life. Take the full shot, profit, you'll enjoy it. VitaminEnergy.com, promo code warchantbogo. I need to just scout out the neighborhood, Corey. I got some leftover stock. Maybe start heading down some chimneys, start dropping some Vitamin Energy in some stockings, Be Slana Claus, as they called me back in the day.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a cool, great nickname.
Yeah, thank you. Almost as good as Havoc. We didn't get any clarity on whether that was self-proclaimed or not, but solid signing class. We'll talk all about that. But if you want to know everything about the signing class, go over to warchant.com. No promo code needed. Just enjoy it. Sign up. Get all the information. By the way, as we record this, everybody, a little bit earlier than, not earlier than usual, but not at 12 o'clock midnight going into Thursday morning. Might need to drop into witness protection, Corey. So that running back from Georgia, I got assigned to get on the video and talk about him flipping. And his paperwork, as we sit here and talk right now, is not in. And everybody's nervous. And everybody thinks I just mimsed it again. So if I did, I apologize, everybody.
That is not even close to what happened with Mims. Everybody announced it. The AJC reported it. Everybody reported that he flipped. It's just a matter of when he signs the grant and aid. He might flip back. Welcome to 2024 college football, but it's not like Warchant was out on an island with that news. It was everywhere.
Yeah. I wish I would have seen this video. Well, actually, you can't hear it because it's playing off my computer, but man, my guy was just like, I'm not going to go to Georgia. I'm going to be going to the University of FSU. And then he tried to get up and leave, like, immediately. They're like, oh, sit down. We got to take photos with your family.
That's the running back, right?
Yeah, it was main Cromwell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he did it. So, again, that's not even anywhere close to something else. That was him. And now, if he doesn't sign, blame him for announcing that he was committing to Florida State.
But also going to witness protection. Everyone's on edge, and I don't know why, man. This turned out to be, I don't know. I guess obviously everything in life is relatively based on terms of where your expectations were. And I think going into Wednesday, Corey, Florida State they were outside the top 30. They're just inside of it as we sit here and record because Solomon Thomas flipped and committed to LSU, so that took off a 5-star off the board. So they're 28th as we sit here and talk. But I don't know, man, just hearing I don't want to put this on the level of my guy Ed Orgeron over in Baton Rouge when he's like, we coming.
We're coming. We're coming.
But, man, that was the best press conference probably out of Mike Norvell since literally maybe he took the job. Just very confident, sounded like. He went over everything he wanted from this class. He wanted length. I thought the best line was, not a lot of projections in this class. Physically, these guys are developed. We have a good idea of what they can become. So, and then on top of what he said to Ira to kind of close things out, this just sounds like a coach, which, hey, listen, he's either going to be front page headlines on Freezing Cold Takes for the next 2 years of his life, or it's going to be like calling my shot. Felt like Wednesday, that was the most confident, self-assured. And I'm sure if you're a fan, you have to feel very energized by the way Mike Norvell came off talking about this class.
Well, I think not so much the class, which is fine, especially where they were and what we thought they might bring in. Just the program itself. I think that's where the confidence, where you should care about his confidence, because we'll talk about the question that Ira asked at the end. I've written a column about it. That's a big part of the column that you guys will be able to read on Warchant about basically Norvell saying, because Ira asked him, because he said, over the past couple of days he's had probably 30 conversations with kids on the players on the current roster. Yeah. And he's like, they've been hard, tough, challenging conversations. And some of them won't be here. They're going to be exploring other opportunities. Some of them will be. And Ira's like, how do you know, when you're talking to someone, how do you know that, I'm paraphrasing it, but how do you know that they're saying one thing, but when their actions say something different, what do you go with? If they tell you all the right things, but you've never seen it, and he's like, well, then they're not going to be here. I'm not going to let them be here. Essentially is what Norvell was saying. Basically yeah, man, hit the road. And it sounds like he's telling multiple people that. And also, he also pointed out that if he does believe in guys, and he does think maybe they've changed their tune, and he sees the same stuff in spring, he might tell them again, yeah, okay, that's a wrap. Hit the road. You're not welcome back here. That's exactly what this program needs. And anytime you go 2-10, you basically need a reset. You need a fresh start, but you need a purge. And there's a lot of players on this team. Some are leaving because their eligibility is up. A lot are going to hit the portal, and it's probably going to be a mostly positive purge of people that just either weren't good enough, weren't bought in enough, or both. And that's how you get to 2-10. And I thought, he wouldn't talk about the coaching hires. He said he wanted to keep it focused on when we had the press conference on Wednesday, he wanted to keep it focused on the players, which is fine. But he did mention a couple times about Malzahn. He mentioned the defense they're going to have, and they're going to be attacking. And yeah, I just thought, and he's like, there is a buzz around this program again. And he's not wrong. When you bring in, looks like Knighton has left Nebraska. I don't know if they've officially said anything about Tony White, but Norvell said
not. But I mean, his whole profile on Twitter is Florida State.
He also said Norvell said coordinators.
Yeah, plural.
I'm excited about these new coordinators. Yeah. So Tony White is here. Malzahn is here. Malzahn he mentioned by name, and then Knighton. Those are the three we know about so far. Yeah, he's like, there is a buzz around this program when you get these types of people to come be a part of the program. And then he's like, yeah, and you saw it a little bit on signing day, and you're going to see it in the portal. And look, man, assuming it sticks, and again, by the time people are listening to this, it might already be official. But they got to force the number 4 running back in the country to flip from Georgia. I mean, that's the kid that flipped from UCF. That's great. It's a 4-star wide receiver. He might be awesome. He might be the best player in the class. Yeah. But his coach just left UCF. The kid he committed just left UCF to come to Florida State. So that's not really that big a surprise, right? No. But getting a kid to flip from Georgia is a big deal. And, yeah, you lost Solomon Thomas. Boo-hoo. Brian Kelly might be fired next year. And if he's fired next year, okay, Solomon Thomas is back on the market. Just like all these kids will be back on the market in a year. And I say that because I was getting to this, Aslan. As we started recording this, Josh Petty has not signed with Georgia Tech and will not sign with Georgia Tech at least on Wednesday as we're recording this. As you guys all remember this, he was a heavy lean to Florida State. Then right before the season started, he flipped to Georgia Tech. Well, now Florida State has a new OC and probably a new O-line coach. Maybe that means something to Josh Petty. Or maybe he's going to Ohio State. I have no idea. But that's all out there, too. So there are probably, Norvell said there are probably going to be 3 to 4 to 5 more kids they get in this class in the next couple of days. And to remind you guys, National Signing Day, quote unquote, lasts till Friday. So there's a window that's still open. But yeah, man, I think that's they got the win kid to stay and stick. Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day for Florida State coming off 2-10.
For what it's worth, Kelly Quinlan, who's from another network, but he's a good guy. We used to work with him a bunch when we do some stuff. Put online, everything's good to go there with Petty. It's more complicated than most of these signings with a guy of his profile. These are basically like contracts now, so ironing out a last-minute detail or two, and he will be announced this week, confirmed with both camps.
That seems normal, right? Like, did National Signing Day sneak up on him?
Right.
Is that what happened? Okay, that seems normal. All right.
Yeah, maybe try to use.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not the truth, but I mean, let's not act like this isn't abnormal.
Right. Well, it's also abnormal when a guy commits to you and then 2 hours later still hasn't sent over his paperwork because we're not using fax machines anymore. Osmane, come on, Osmane, help me, buddy.
Also, they're not even using, as Aslan got to the bottom of, they're not even using NLIs anymore. Yeah. It's just grant and aids, so there are no such things as NLIs anymore.
Yeah, but you're still signing that I guess it's just a different piece of paper. Maybe you're only signing one piece of paper now, that grant and aid, which we've talked about. That was something that came out about 14. Dalvin signed it, which gave Jimbo the ability to talk about him when they were at Disneyland with the national title team, right?
Yeah, that's right. With the no, it was the year after. It was the game where they lost to Oregon. But yeah, that was. But I think
he played in the Oregon game.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good call, Aslan. Good call. Yeah, that was right before they played Gus Malzahn's team.
Yeah, choker.
Yeah, the choking Malzahn couldn't hold the 21-3 lead.
Unbelievable. I signed up for it though. If he got to a national title game, we were up 21-3. I'm cool with it. If we lose,
and he had just led the offense to a national championship 3 years before. Yeah, as the OC, sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so as you mentioned, I guess let's talk about some of these players. We were trying to get our guy Mike Langston on here, but he did the live show last night, so anything that he said on that would be more recent than what he would come on this show to share with. But you mentioned Kevin Wynn. That's a guy that Mike said really had effusive praise for. I mean, maybe one of the top players he thought in this entire class, a guy that he thinks can help them out early, which that's awesome. Again, and I can think it goes to him talking about there's not a lot of projections on this. They didn't get guys just to get bodies. I mean, some of the stuff that he said was like really refreshing and honest and really, positive stuff when you're talking about these young kids. But him and then Tylen Coleman, who had been committed to either Ole Miss or Mississippi State, I can't keep up with all this stuff. And I think Illinois might have been in the mix, but he's a guy, he's havoc, if I'm not mistaken. So those are two guys you have on the interior that can help you out day one, because that's a position where you're anticipating some losses. So again, 15 guys that he was able to talk about. Those two, he had a lot of good things to say about, and they're at a really important position. So it makes you feel good.
It does, yeah. And again, I don't know how much you're going to expect a ton out of a freshman defensive tackle, but if he's special enough,
well, hey, we talked about those. I know it's a little bit different. Those edge guys at South Carolina, Dylan Stewart, and then Colin, whatever his name is, that's over at Texas right now. But yeah, you're allowed to go out and make plays as a freshman. It's fine.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
Yeah, and he was glowing about Wynn, and I think Wynn is probably their biggest get of the class, for sure. And yeah, man, it's just I think that when he talked, it was so. He was saying all the right things, and then at the end, because we know how everybody is, he also said, "But words are just words. Actions are what matters." He went back into that. But yeah, he did say we're not just getting guys. We don't want to just bring in bodies. Kind of implying that is kind of what the roster was made up of a little bit. And look, man, the reality is, you need the Kevin Wynns of the world. You'd like the Solomon Thomases too. You need the I don't know his name, the Lee County running back.
Osmain Croma. You
need guys. You need special, and apparently those guys are. They seem to be pretty special, and you got to go out in the portal and get special. And what should be encouraging for Florida State fans is if you listen to this show, and I assume you do because you are right now hearing these words come out of my mouth. I think obviously for 2025 and probably even 2026, the biggest signings are going to come next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, when you get the guys that are ready-made, available to play right away. And if your staff that isn't even completely full yet was able to pull some of these off, get Kevin Wynn to stay, get some nice JUCO talent, get a Georgia almost 5-star running back, that
hasn't signed, Corey. He hasn't signed.
Sure. I mean, we could play that game. Josh Petty hasn't signed, but apparently that's just how it goes. Look, he stood up and said he's coming to Florida State. If he backs down, backs out, whatever, go to Georgia, man, be their 4th-string running back. I would think you could look at Florida State's backfield and be like, yeah, and Gus Malzahn's history. You'd be like, yeah, I bet I could run for a lot of yards next year, but it's fine, whatever. The fact, I know this sounds crazy, even that he stood up and said Florida State.
The University of Florida, the University of FSU.
And quit being a contrarian, Aslan. Let people enjoy a moment, for crying out loud. They've 2-11 in their last 13, including a 50-point loss and a 60-point loss.
Did
Good
you see
grief.
the video? He looked very nervous. That's all I'm saying. Hey, man, you're
But he did say it.
Your ass is in the jackpot? No, mine is in the jackpot, Corey.
No, not at all. I'm taking the kid at his word. He stood at a podium or a table and said Florida State.
Yeah, no.
When was the last time Florida State fans got any news like that?
I'm saying people give kids a hard time when they don't say, Florida State University. That's all.
Right. But either way, he stood up and said Florida State, whether university came before or last. Yeah. He said Florida State. The fact that they got him to do that in public,
Right.
even if he runs to Athens, I don't care. They don't even have a staff together. We don't even know who the running back coach is.
No, we don't.
We think it could be David Johnson. It might not be David Johnson. We don't know who the O-line coach is. And they got one of the fourth best running back in America to decommit from Georgia and publicly commit to them in the span of 3 days. Well, whether that sticks or not, and by all means stick. And look, even if it was signed, Aslan, what does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean? Petty could sign tomorrow with Georgia Tech. What does that mean? He can't leave? Nope, He can leave tomorrow. He can leave as soon as he turns in the paperwork. He can say, you know what, I'm changing my mind. I might see you in a couple of years. Like none of this is binding.
Would he have to wait till the 9th to jump into the portal? I
guess. That's a good point. Can you be in the portal if you're still in high school? Yeah. These are all questions we got to figure out. But
somebody needs to be the first ever to do it, though. Be the answer to the trivia question, Josh Petty.
Dang right. Or Solomon Thomas.
Yeah.
Once you see who the O-line coach is, be like, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Tallahassee. Yeah. But the fact that they got him to do that, doesn't in just such a short amount of time, a high-level recruit like that, doesn't that bode and got wind to stick? Bode really, really well for what this staff might be able to do in the next 3 weeks, which, as I was saying, is by far the most important part of this Mike Norvell's tenure. Honestly, is what happens in the next 3 weeks. And I was very encouraged by the way Wednesday went and the names that were used, or the names that signed or said they were going to sign.
Yeah, man, give me difference makers. I know it's only a class of 15 that he was able to talk about at 4:30 afternoon yesterday, but give me that running back. Go look at his highlights, or his senior highlight film is 30 minutes, and at minute 5.5, he's still running the ball, power inside, busting tackles and sprinting by high-level Georgia high school talent. So that's always a good thing. Where you can, sometimes when you get to like minute 4 of the highlight video, it starts becoming a little bit more pedestrian. But like at minute 5, this kid was still doing superhuman stuff. Give me Kevin Wynn. I think Norvell said something along the lines that you transcribed about the way he moves. I don't think anybody else in the country moves like him. It's unlike anybody else in the country, in my opinion, the way that he moves. Give me that kind of guy. And the JUCO kid, again, we haven't had a lot of success with JUCO guys, it feels like, lately, although maybe somebody's escaping my mind here, but this feels like a guy that there's probably the opportunity to come in and perform quickly. And if the Terrence Knighton news sticks here, which no reason to think it won't, that's a nice marriage too. So yeah, it'd be nice to have 25 guys or 28 or whatever and be a top 15 class. But man, I'll be fine being 24th and having 17, but you feel really good about 5 or 6 of them, right? Like you feel really, really good about 5 or 6 of them. So I'll take that.
And you want a hit rate. You want a hit rate that, I don't know what a good hit rate is. I would guess half of the kids become starters, and maybe a third, or I don't know, 20% become all conference players. That's a good hit rate. That would be an incredible hit rate coming off 2-10. But again, what happened? What transpired on Wednesday? I think gives you some hope, man. Not just about the portal. That's the biggest deal, but moving forward. Like, okay, get yourself a real recruiting staff, and then you can have more days like Wednesday where it was mostly good news. So it was mostly good news, and I think they're, apparently they're going to, again, he said that he thought they'd get to 19 or 20, but he couldn't comment on some of the guys that had not put in their paperwork, and then it was at 15 when he talked to us. So that implies there's 4 more, maybe 5 more out there. That would be good news, be really good news. And then move forward with the class of 2026, which is also an imperative to start recruiting like Florida State again. Like, go ahead and get you a top 10 class. That's allowed. What I saw? I was looking at the recruiting rankings, though. It looks like a misprint. By the way, Clemson, by the time when I looked at it, they were in the 20s. They were barely ahead of Florida State, which is bizarre. But then maybe they didn't have a couple of kids that had committed. They're still waiting. But then also Syracuse has 33 commits from 3-star players.
Jeez.
Can that be right? I mean, that's what I saw. It's like I did a triple take. I'm like, 33?
Why couldn't it be right?
I mean, I guess you can sign that many, but they were ranked ahead of Florida State. Well, they threw you talk about just bodies.
Well, they're
33
44th.
start.
They're 44th currently, so they're behind.
Oh, okay. Maybe they lost some guys.
Yeah,
I don't know.
30, wow, 34 commits, though. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You got one guy that's a 4-star from the state of Florida, no less, from Palm Bay.
But how about 33 3-stars?
Yeah, man. Well,
But also, Syracuse is 9-3. Again, this isn't the end-all, be-all of your program if you have an okay day or not a good day. But you've got to, you've got to complement it with portal acquisitions, and I think they are in. I just feel like Wednesday, if nothing else, gave me a lot of encouraging signs and hope that, man, when the gloves come off starting Monday and kids can start committing to other schools, Florida State is going to be nabbing their fair share, and they have to. And they got a lot of holes to fill.
Nab your fair share of tater tots or French fries off your friend's plate when you go to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. One of the many side dish options that comes with your entree, including your daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're only $8.99 over at the CP. That's what we call the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Later tonight, bingo night going down. 4 rounds, $250 in cash up for grabs in each round. So bring that dauber, bring the right juju and picking that bingo card and have some fun while you hang out with your friends with libations, things of that nature. Billiards, darts, arcade games, Vegas wall of television screens. What else
don't
do you
forget
want?
the anniversary party on Friday night.
Did we get any
Live
confirmation
music.
on pricing?
Yeah, live music for sure. And then they're also selling T-shirts to commemorate their 18th anniversary. So it'll be a good time. Come out and enjoy the festivities.
Is there does the number 18 have some sort of significance to our guy Bill, or just, like a T-shirt for the 18th? I'm not anti.
I mean, you get to vote. You're an adult.
Yeah.
I guess you can serve. There's all stuff that comes with being an 18-year-old, I guess.
Okay. Any confirmation on whether the prices will be at 2006 prices?
I did not get confirmation on that. Go ahead and assume they will be, and then you might be unpleasantly surprised when you get there.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Let's be vulnerable, everybody. I'm going to tell you a secret. It's Aslan, by the way. I stopped wearing deodorant one day during the pandemic, and then one day became a week, which became a month, which became a year, and then it became years. But I'm fine now, everybody. I do wear deodorant. I don't wear what I used to wear, though, which was antiperspirant deodorant, because, first off, I would still perspire. You're supposed to perspire, but it's a normal bodily function. It's okay. But it wouldn't stop me from sweating. It ruined all my shirts. And then the scent was so overwhelming, and then trying to wash it off of you was just like a chore that I didn't like doing. So that's why I'm excited about Mando. They sent me a bunch of stuff a week ago. I've been using it now for like the last week. And it's great. It says it lasts for 72 hours. I can't attest to that, everybody, because I shower every single day. But I put it on in the morning. I go to the practice and I sweat. Then I go to the gym and I sweat. Then I come home and I record a podcast for you folks. I sweat really bad doing the podcast. It's really weird. I don't know. I'm nervous. I want to do a really good job for you folks. And I smell fantastic. And it's a subtle scent that doesn't feel like chemicals and artificial. It just feels kind of, I don't know, real almost. So I'm going to tell you folks to go check it out yourselves. Go to shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT. And you'll get $5 off your starter pack. That's 40% off, I'm told, if you do the math. So go to shopmando.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT. You can control body odor anywhere with Mando, but I'm just doing it under the pits for right now. I'll keep you posted. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code WARCHANTBOGO. Try it, everybody. The variety packs. All the different varieties, all the different flavors. You're going to find one you like. Probably more than one. So don't count on giving all of them away. You're probably going to consume them and enjoy them. I like this paraphrase from your live transcription, Corey. I wonder how much this shines some light on maybe what went wrong this past season, which we don't want to hack it up too much, but, it's worth admitting your mistakes so you don't repeat them in history and all that stuff. But Norvell said, I don't want anyone coming in here just to be a part of this program. I want you to come in here and try to make this program better. You should get excited. And I do wonder, with how high they were flying coming out of 2023 and the fact that seemingly they hit on everybody they got from the transfer portal in 2022, in 2023. I mean, you can throw Jermaine Johnson on top of there if you want to go back to 2021. Kier, I mean, those are legitimate guys. Jay Sean Corbin. I mean, I shouldn't shortchange what they did in 2021, but 2022 and 23, obviously, some really, really huge pieces. I think when you look at what they brought in this past season, again, a lot of these players did not produce anywhere. Jared Verse produced, Braden Fisk produced, Keon Coleman produced, Jaheim Bell produced, etc. Trey Benson, not as much. Johnny Wilson, not as much, but you can live with some of that. How much of this, I don't want you coming here just to be part of this program. And I know this was talking about high school guys, but maybe a message to guys that are hopping in the portal and the people that are going to start contacting here in the days to come. How much of that you think reflects on what they brought in this past year? Guys that might have just been like, I'm going to show up to Florida State. This thing is on autopilot to the moon. I'm just going to enjoy the ride kind of, and everything else is going to take care of itself.
Yeah, it could be something to do with that. I don't think that's an incorrect interpretation at all. I think that's very valid. I think also just moreover, like, you know, and it's not something I want him to be great at all the time, but I think Norvell, like if you're joining Florida State now, whether you're a recruit or a portal or a assistant coach, like you're coming for a rebuild. And it's a different mindset of a kid that would join a 2-10 program compared to someone that joins a 13-0 program. Right? I mean, it's a different kind of kid. You talk about he wants to have real ones. Well, they know what they're getting into when they join a 2-10 program. The problem with that is quit doing this, Mike. You need to start learning how to recruit with success. But I think he likes these kind of guys. He knows he can trust and believe in what they're bringing, because why else would they be here if they're not willing to work hard and be a part of the solution? They're not just showing up to ride on coattails. There are no coattails to ride. You got to build the coat. So I think that he likes this challenge and he likes this opportunity. He's just got to be better about, obviously building on success. You hope they have success in the next year or two, and he won't let this happen and slip again. But right now, the guys that are coming in, he knows they're coming in. Their eyes are wide open. They are not confused about what has to happen. Now, some of them might be coming in for financial reasons, playing time, all of it matters, but they also know it's not going to be easy. You don't go to a 2-10 program if you think you're going to win a national championship the next year and you're going to ride off into the sunset. Like you've got to put in work. But this is what Norvell likes, which again, he's got to figure out a way, in my opinion, to kind of marriage these two. Like you want a hardworking team, you want a hardworking program, you want a diamond in the rough type work ethic from these guys. But you also need the diamonds out in the field, out in the wide open too. You don't need to always be finding diamonds in the rough and 3-star guys. You need some badasses too that have always been badasses. He loves the Jermaine Johnson, great example. Jamie Robinson.
Oh, yeah,
those guys are the cornerstone of this program. They came when Florida State was nothing, or I shouldn't say that, when Florida State was really struggling. They came and built it up again. Well, now he's looking for more people like that, and he's hoping he can replicate what happened 3 years ago with guys like that and Keir Thomas and, like you said, Jashawn Corbin. And let's hope he can. But, yeah, I think he relishes this. Don't you? Like, in a way, I don't think he relishes 2-10, but he relishes getting to coach guys that are joining the program now. And he kind of, I think, relishes jettisoning people that aren't built for this. Like, I think he's relishing this part of it. He needs to stop with it, though. Yeah. Like, this needs to be the last time he needs to rebuild like this, clearly. I don't think he'd get another chance to rebuild. This is it.
Yeah, because I guess this is one of those things where being the hunted versus being a hunter, and, they were back at the top of college football or close to it, and then he wasn't able to maintain it. So the way he's been talking and the steps he's gone through to go about fixing and remedying what happened here, you feel like this is something it's not only about getting back to where they were, but like, okay, I almost tasted it. So
yeah,
maybe, I don't want to say he took it for granted, but maybe some of the people around him took it for granted. Maybe the people he brought in here took it for granted, but obviously he has to take some accountability for it as well. But I would think that just the way he's talking, he's like, all right, listen, I know how this all works. I mean, the way he talked about the NLI aspect no longer being part of the deal, but now it's the grant and aid, and hey, it's all about money anyways. Like, he's kind of, pulling back the curtain and realizing and letting everybody know he knows what business is all about, what you have to do, and how this whole thing works. So it just makes you feel he's that much more equipped that if he can get this thing back, If he can get it back to 10 wins, if he can get it back to a playoff, I shouldn't say 10 wins in the playoff because Miami got 10 wins. They're probably not going to the playoff.
Sorry, Canes. That must sting.
I mean,
I hope Cam plays in the bowl game for you, though.
imagine being told right now, like imagine all Florida State fans were told, hey, you're going to be up 21-0 against, I mean, it's different. It's Syracuse. It's not Florida. But you're going to be up 21-0 against the Gators in the swamp. And then all you got to do is just win that game. You're going to go to the playoff. And then you find out that, like, psych.
Yep.
You were up 21-0 in the game, but you lost it, and now you're not going to the playoff either.
I don't know how. I mean, I guess there's a way it could happen. I guess just the way the rankings are, not that this is a show about the college football rankings, but Alabama's one spot ahead of them. Well, both of them are going to go down one. Like it's Alabama 11, Miami 12 right now. But the Big 12 champ has to jump in. The Big 12 champ was not in the top 12. It'll be jumping in, which whether it's Arizona, let's assume Arizona State wins. So Arizona State then becomes the top 4 seed. No, maybe it'll be them or Boise.
Top 4. It's a top 4 highest ranked conference champions.
If UNLV wins, then Arizona State becomes the 4. If Boise wins, then Boise becomes the 4. Either way, they both leap into the field, meaning number 12 gets kicked out. And number 12 right now is Miami, which is I don't know how they could get in. Like if Georgia loses by 50.
Right.
Like I honestly don't know how they could get in just looking at the way the matchups in the conference championship games are.
Maybe if a quarterback gets hurt, Corey.
It's a fair point, Aslan. Yeah, that's right. If Dylan Gabriel injures his leg, even if they win the game, if they win, they're automatically in. If they lose and they're 13-1 or 12-1, you can't let
or Penn State. Penn State if Drew Aller gets hurt, they just lost. They don't have their quarterback.
And they lose by 60. Yeah, for some reason, I think they'll be in, Aslan. I think, and Indiana looks like they're in. They're locked and loaded, so Notre Dame is definitely in. So, yeah, it looks like I don't know how the way the committee chair was talking, there's really nothing that can happen that Miami would all of a sudden overtake Alabama. So, sorry.
He said something to the effect that it sounded like people were making it sound like he said that whoever's not playing doesn't have the opportunity to move ahead of people that are playing.
Yes.
So,
but
Alabama's not playing.
Except Alabama, he left open the possibility that Alabama could leapfrog SMU. If Clemson beats SMU, he said Alabama could leapfrog SMU, which is just like because that's what Rhett Lashley said on Wednesday. He's like, well, we should just not play the game.
Yes, if our whole team got COVID, he's like, we would be in the playoff right now.
Yeah, which is like, don't go then.
Yeah.
Don't go play the game. Call it off. Whatever you have to do, like it's crazy that you would penalize a team for getting to its conference championship game. It's like, it's just crazy. Like I don't think the basketball committee, when a team is a 2 seed, and then they lose their conference, and they lose in the conference tournament, or they lose in the conference championship game, it never impacts them. They stay where they were going to stay. They don't take those things very seriously. Now, this one week, we're 1 year into this 12-team playoff, and now there's talk about just blowing up the conference championship games because they're meaningless, and all they do is hurt you. Now, Clemson might get in because of the conference championship game, but SMU is going to be penalized for making it, which is just sheer stupidity, honestly. But whatever. Ole Miss is out. Miami's out. And SMU
my guy Lane Kiffin's got to put a sock in it.
Yeah.
Love you, Lane, but pipe down, man.
Don't lose to Kentucky, dog.
Yeah.
Don't lose to Kentucky. Louisville beat that Kentucky team by 30 points.
Don't lose to Florida coming off a bye, champ.
Yeah, that too.
And you're sitting here talking about the ACC and crowd sizes, and it's just, come on, Lane.
Yeah. Oh, well. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? All right. That's it for us, Corey. Anything else you want to add? Hopefully we'll get – I'm thinking we'll probably get to maybe talk to Gus next week.
It sounded like it. Norvell, before the press conference started, said we might have a press conference next week.
At a later date, which I don't think would be this week. So,
I would think that he's as open as anybody in the country is when it comes to his talking to assistant coaches and players. So I would assume we would get Malzahn. It's going to be funny. I was just thinking about that. Like when Malzahn hears what Norvell, he probably already has what Norvell's press policy is. He's like, wait, what? They're at practice? What? And I have to talk to him every week.
And it's in the morning? We practice in the morning?
Yeah. What's
What
go, Mike?
time?
Is this a joke? Is this a joke? And he gets on the phone with UCF. No. I mean, it'll be interesting because all these guys, Norvell gave them their shot at the big time. Well, Malzahn's been in the big time. Obviously, our man White has been in the big time. Knighton's been in the big time. So it's like it'll be interesting to see how they handle this media policy because it is unlike any other media policy in the country. I assume Matt Rule wasn't letting those guys talk every week and opening up practice. Yeah. I don't think Malzahn opens up practice. I doubt it. He grew up in the SEC, man. They're as paranoid as anyone. So yeah, that'll. But we should be able to talk to them. And I think, look, my overarching thought about Wednesday is just that you thought it was going to be a disaster. I legitimately thought they'd be ranked in the 60s. But just because I didn't know who would stick. You didn't think Kevin Wynn would stick.
That's true.
And they got some flips. They got some commits that you weren't maybe expecting. And it's just and there's still some more out there. I know there was a kid that visited here. I mean, I know we'll talk to Langston about it, but that visited.
No, we don't
here.
have Langston on the show. We don't have Langston.
I know. We'll talk to him at some point though, on Warchant's content. That visited here last weekend. That's a wide receiver / tight end that's committed to them. Well, he didn't sign with Florida on Wednesday, so he announced that he wasn't signing with Florida. Florida State's very much in the running. They just had him on a visit the week of the Florida game, so you could get somebody like that, somebody else. And I like the message that he had, and it was for the first. It was an uplifting signing day, and they haven't had a lot of those around here. They've had plenty of nice portal days. But an uplifting signing day where you're like, wait, they got what? That's a pretty massive flip. That came out of nowhere. That's like old school stuff. It's usually Florida State getting burned with all that. And it's nice that they got a couple 4-star flips. They got they got a couple of guys from JUCOs that I think will play right away. And they got to go hit the portal for some linemen and maybe a quarterback. Hey, by the way, the Oklahoma kid's out there. He'd
Jackson
be good.
Arnold. Yeah.
He'd be good in Malzahn's offense. He can run.
Okay.
He's an athlete.
Okay.
And he's a Texas kid, but I don't think Texas is looking for a quarterback. So
that Arch Manning kid might be something.
Yeah, he could do something. So maybe there's but yeah, all in all, I think it does feel like with the Knighton hire, that's a big deal, man.
It is.
Knighton hire, White, Malzahn. It feels like he's putting together his coaching staff that has emboldened him, and he feels really, really optimistic. It is not coach speak. Shout out to Coach Speak. That'll be returning this week. It is not Coach Speak, man. I think he is genuinely excited about having all these big boy coaches in the room with him now and what this is going to look like over the next month as he puts together this roster.
Well said.
Thanks, buddy.
That is a wrap for us. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. That's also a wrap for us on the week. Should have a program for you guys back up on Monday, provided I am out of hiding by then. Which I will be. I've got video. I'm about to retweet the video of him doing the commitment. So I'll be like, get off my back, everybody. Leave me alone. So he's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.